Hey guys, how you doing? What the fuck is up? So today I'm going to be showing you why Mass Effect to this day has the best endings. And yes, I'm talking about Mass Effect 3. So Mass Effect 3, and I don't want this to be confused with Ass Effect 3, which is actually a porno written by John Wick. That's not true. But I do want to point out that I will be talking about the original endings, not the DLC. So I don't want you to see that in the comments unless, honestly, it's constructive. Because there's just so many people that were not satisfied with these endings, and they just kind of threw these in there to extend on it because people couldn't read between the lines and accept the ending for what it was. Or at least what I thought it was. So I just want to get that out of the way now. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into this. Actually, wait. So before we dig into this, I want to share 3 definitions with you verbatim. These are 3 that come into play later, and I really want you to have a firm understanding of them before we, even start bringing them up. So first one is actually not really a definition, so I guess I lied. It's actually going to be the audio log over the accounts and first-hand accounts of indoctrination process that the Reapers do to their thralls, or victims. So go ahead and roll it.
Reaper indoctrination is an insidious means of corrupting organic minds, reprogramming the brain through physical and psychological conditioning using electromagnetic fields, infrasonic and ultrasonic noise, and other subliminal methods. The Reaper's resulting control over the limbic system leaves the victim highly susceptible to its suggestions. Organics undergoing indoctrination may complain of headaches and buzzing or ringing in their ears.
Do you hear that hum? Is that just me?
As time passes, they have feelings of being watched and hallucinations of ghostly presences. Ultimately, the Reaper gains the ability to use the victim's body to amplify its signals, manifesting as alien voices in the mind. Indoctrination can create perfect deep cover agents. A Reaper's suggestions can manipulate victims into betraying friends, trusting enemies, or viewing the Reaper itself with superstitious awe. Should a Reaper subvert a well-placed political or military leader, the resulting chaos can bring down nations. Long-term physical effects of the manipulation are unsustainable. Higher mental functioning decays, ultimately leaving the victim a gibbering animal. Rapid indoctrination is possible, but causes this decay in days or weeks. Slow, patient indoctrination allows the thrall to last for months or years.
Second thing is I want to go over the definition of subliminal. And subliminal is a stimulus or mental process below the threshold of a sensation of consciousness perceived by or affecting someone's mind without them being aware of it. This is very important when it comes to the things that Reapers may do to someone that's very subtle or laid back that you kind of have to really look for. Finally, I want to talk about the word indoctrination. This is the process of teaching a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically, meaning that they're fully a part of whatever you're telling them. Whatever you're trying to get them indoctrinated to, they believe it without question. And now that we've got past all that boring stuff, I want you to go ahead and pat yourself on the back because you're a freaking champion. And you're potentially more literate than when you began this video, so if not anything, you got that to go after all this, so not bad. Not freaking bad. So now we're going to go ahead and get to the body of this, and as of all my videos, I'm going to have to go into a little bit of the backstory. I'm going to go through Mass Effect 3 with you guys, and obligatory, there's going to be spoilers ahead. This game came out in 2012, so please, I don't want to hear you guys telling me you spoiled something for you in the comments, because honestly, dude, like, it came out in 2012. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So in the beginning of the game, you're greeted by Anderson and Admiral Hackett talking, followed by this awesome freaking word wall. Fast forward a little bit more to a ship that can be driven by what I can only describe as a Shortly after watching whatever that was, you're interrupted by Dave Bautista, who brings you to Anderson. Then Anderson brings you to the Council that took away your ship and your comrades because you killed a few thousand Batarians last game. Oopsies. The Council forgets to pay their cable bill and then gets slapped harder than when Nan figures out you've had a second soda. You are forced to go back to the Normandy, and good thing too, because these Reapers you've been warning them about for 2 whole games really don't play around. You and Anderson are in the middle of roughing up a door when something catches your ear. Is that you, Nan? It's not, luckily, but it's a kid, and in fact, it's the same kid that was on the roof not that long ago. What a small world. After you offer your help, and oddly he says that you cannot help him, Anderson quickly phases through that door that you pried apart to tell you that the right way is not through that vent, you big silly. Finally, you make it back to Normandy, and you're quickly reinstated by Anderson, not before seeing off your favorite vent buddy. Oh god. So back on the Normandy, Dave Bautista has some words for you, but you remind him that you're Vince McMahon. Hackett calls and tells you to go to Mars, basically to meet up with Liara. After discovering a Prothean superweapon able to destroy the Reapers and some lengthy disposition, you meet the elusive man, who reveals Cerberus' plans to control the Reapers. You also run into Eva, who stole the plans for that weapon, which is not very kosher of her. After clapping Eva and taking back the plans, the Alliance begins construction of a superweapon dubbed the Crucible. Surprisingly, you'll need every race on board, and good luck, I imagine the Council saying as they laugh and plot devices. Shepard first rescues the Turian Primarch, Adrian Victus, from a moon that is orbiting Palavan, the Turian homeworld. But being rescued is not quite enough for this guy, so he'll only pledge the Turian support if the Krogans help defend Palavan. Awesome, but the thing is, the Krogan leader, either Urdnot Rex or Reeve, honestly I'm hoping it's Urdnot Rex, will only assist if the genophage is cured. Dang, how that came to bite us in the butt, 3 times now? So as we know it, the only folks that can do that are the Salarians. So, away we go! Once in Surkesh, we meet up with Mordin, and if you meet anyone else here, you should stop this video and go replay Mass Effect 2 and think about your poor decision making. This guy is a god among amphibians, don't at me. So to fix this, Mordin will need to go into the tower that the Salarians built on Tachanka, the Krogan homeworld, nicknamed the Shroud, that originally dispersed the genophage to begin with, but this time it'll be used to release the cure. However, before landing, the Salarian Dalatress, Linron, informs Shepard that the Shroud has been sabotaged to prevent the disposal of the cure. She offers Salarian support if Shepard leaves the sabotage intact. You are faced with either gaining the support of the Salarians or the Krogans. Both are great assets, so you go ahead and decide. Between missions, Shepard's learned that humanity's counselor, Donnell Udina, may be at a security risk. So the Normandy travels to the Citadel, where Shepard confirms that Udina is partnered with Cerberus and is leading a coup attempt with Kai Lang. Udina is killed in the invasion and stopped, once again slapping the elusive man right in the titties. The fucking Quarians. As much as I love them, they only offer their support if you help them gain their homeworld back from the Geth. A species that was born from when you let Ciri get a little too serious, if you know what I'm saying. So to do so, you have to kill a Reaper base that's located on Rannoch. That frees up the influence of the Geth, and then the Legion informs you that the Geth can actually be upgraded to reach true quotation marks life, and you can either choose a ceasefire or to gain the support of both, or mollywop one side. And once again, the choice is yours, but unfortunately for the Geth, Tally's always been my romance option, so things are looking a little bleak for him. So there we have it. I think we've touched just about every homeworld. Wait, what? Ah, shit. That's right, the freaking Asari. So, of course, there's a hidden Prothean artifact on their homeworld, Thessia, which can help Shepard identify the Catalyst, which is an essential tool when completing the Crucible. Shepard discovers the Prothean virtual intelligence, Vi, or called Vendetta, which I'm going to refer to it for the rest of this video, but Lang arrives and steals it as Thessia falls to the Reapers. Desperate to reclaim Vendetta, Shepard follows Lang to the human colony Horizon, where Cerberus has been researching the Reaper control technology. Shepard obtains a tracking device that leads to the Cerberus headquarters. This initiates an all-out assault on the base from the Alliance. Shepard reaches the central base and kills Lang, and learns from Vendetta that the Catalyst is actually the Citadel, which the Reapers have captured after successfully indoctrinating the elusive man. Now, Commander Shepard, Admiral Hackett, and Anderson have to do a final all-out assault in London on the Reapers. But this is where I'm gonna have to make like Dio and use my own Zawardo. This is where my whole theory starts. I know, we've been here for a long time already, but hear me out. I'm giving you a chance to go ahead and pause the video, go ahead and grab yourself some snacks, get yourself hydrated, water is important. Go ahead and do that. We will reconvene together, think about what you just learned, and we'll go ahead and dive into this theory. Alright, welcome back, and I swear to God if you're not hydrated, I will be so upset with you. But, we're going to go ahead and move into Phase 3. Okay, so, to start this off, what do we know about indoctrination up to this point? Well, we'll go through a quick little bulletin point here. It's designed to corrupt organic mind by using subliminal means. Side effects can include headaches, buzzing, or ringing in the ears, general paranoia such as being watched or ghostly presences. The Reaper can use its victim to amplify its influence, sounding like alien voices in the mind. And the victim can even betray allies, entrust enemies, or even view the Reaper with superstitious awe. The longer the indoctrination process, the more taxing it becomes on the mind and begins to break it down. Rapid indoctrination can happen, but it causes the victim to break down much faster. Slow indoctrination, on the other hand, can have the victims last for months and even years. So I want to first analyze this ending. So you're running down this hill to get to the Citadel through this beam teleporter, but I really want you to pay attention to the music as you steamroll down this hill. Nothing's really out of the ordinary. And then you get absolutely macked by the super laser, by our old pal Harbinger, who's been cooking this up for 3 games now. Flash to that little orb, and then back to the battlefield. That's kinda odd. I just somehow survived this beam that no one else ever has. And like, look at the ship that's carrying the kid in the beginning. It literally sawed it in half. Actually, this is a good point. Let's go ahead and get back to that kid. So low growling noises have always been represented as Reapers being present. It sounds kind of like this. Well, this is a sound that's linked to indoctrination, and it's a chatter between the giant creatures. And why I bring this up, you might ask? Well, remember that kid that distracted Shepard in the beginning? Let's go ahead and listen to that sequence with the normal audio playing.
Hey. It's okay.
Everyone's dying.
Come on, you've got to get out of here. Take my hand.
You can't help me.
Shepard! In here.
Did you hear that growl sound when Anderson interrupts him? The growl is clearly upset that he was just interrupted, and then shortly after, the kid vanishes. No sound of him going through a vent, he just disappears. Also, more on the subliminal side, anytime this kid's on screen, he's always next to a caution sign or a warning symbol, and BioWare has made it very clear that they don't do anything by accident. Sounds, camera angles are used intentionally to convey emotion stated in their bonus books. Not to mention, nobody acknowledges that he's there. Like, they helped the girl earlier on the ship. This is a child in a war zone. Why is nobody helping him? So before I start diving down this rabbit hole, I really want to also bring up another really important first-hand account of the indoctrination process. It actually comes from an interesting source, the Rachni Queen.
No, I do not know what happened in the war. We only heard discordance. Songs the color of oily shadows. A tone from space hushed one voice after another. It forced the singers to resonate with its own sour yellow note. Then we awoke in this place, the last echo of those who came out from the singing planet. The sky is silent.
So her account specifically says that she only remembers songs in the color of oily shadows. Well, where have we seen these shadows before? That's absolutely right, the dream sequences. So throughout this game, you're always terrorized about that kid that you lost on Earth. It's been eating you mentally and physically. You always dream about it every now and again. And let's go ahead and look at some of these sequences. So not only do you have oily shadows here, but you also have a very interesting soundtrack. It's almost identical to when you're entering the beam. Go ahead and listen to it for yourself. The only difference is literally intensity. And the only reason why I think there's even a difference is because the direct indoctrination process over the slower subliminal speeds. It says here that it affects the mind much more when it's done quickly. The Reapers have no more options at this point. It's the end game. They have to turn that thing up to 11 before Shepard gets on the ship and kills them all. Another important thing to notice is Harbinger's actions. Why would he just leave after hitting you with his beam? You have been the protagonist this entire game. I guess technically you would be his antagonist through this entire game. Through this trilogy, you have thwarted him 3 times. Well, I guess technically 2, but you're working on your 3rd time. Why would he not double tap you? Why would he not confirm your kill? When Harbinger makes a tier list about toughest bosses, Shepard is S tier. So I don't get that at all. So outside of him just getting up and leaving, what else do you notice here? Well, after you're shot, your HUD has disappeared, and this could be chalked up as just taking damage and you're disoriented. That's fine, but you have a whole new set of armor. Like, in every other cutscene in this game, you retain your armor, regardless of what it is. How come this scene changed your armor entirely? You have a new set of armor on. It's not charred or burnt, it's distinctively blue. It is an N7 armor. You're also granted infinite ammo, and that's never happened in this game outside of some other special scene that you know has happened. It almost seems dreamlike. And just after getting shot in the shoulder by a Marauder, you go ahead and jump into the beam and tell Scotty to hit it. And once you're on the Citadel, honestly, things just get weirder from there. Once on the Citadel, you get a weird ring from none other than Admiral Anderson. And it's kind of odd new title since it's never been referenced in the whole game that way, and he says that he's on the Citadel too, and when you rightfully ask him how, he says he jumped in right after you did. But that's kind of odd considering you'd think you would have seen that, or maybe the team overlooking the hill would have mentioned that both the protagonists of this game entered the beam instead of reporting that there is no survivors. It's a pretty clear view from the top, so I'm sure they would have seen us probably jump in there, I would hope. Furthermore, why aren't we both in the same location? However, he quickly dismisses this and says that we must have been teleported to a different location, but the beam had a clear singular landing and it's behind you, as you can clearly see. And then finally Anderson tells you about how the walls are shifting and they're not exactly what they appear to be. You actually never see this happen while you're on the Citadel whatsoever. Other weird stuff that I'd like to mention is that the Keepers are not even typing on anything. They're just sitting there with their hands touching the wall. And the bodies in the hallways look just like the ones you found in the Collector's ship. And the Collectors organized those bodies because the Reapers indoctrinated them to do so. So the engines on the Citadel look very similar to the Shadow Brokers, and the room where the control panel is in looks so similar to the Elusive Man's room. So here's my point. It looks like these are conjured memories. These are stuff that the Reapers are implanting into your mind to make it seem like Shepard is still going through his normal plan. They're using all their tools to do so. For instance, we know where the control room in the Citadel is, and that is not it. We've seen in Mass Effect 2 that they're shown with a much larger room with multiple pathways and large foliage. That is clearly not that room. Now this is where we get to the Elusive Man and Anderson, and first off, let's not beat around the bush. These two represent Paragon and the Renegade options Shepard has always been presented with. Anderson being Paragon, doing the decision that's best for everyone, and the Elusive Man, Renegade, choosing the more selfish paths that normally get the job done more efficiently. This is Shepard's mind battling off the Reapers right here. This is the very last two representations of Shepard's mind, and it's his last defenses, and sadly, they both get killed. Shepard is now vulnerable to anything the Reapers try to convey. Look at his body. Whenever he shoots himself or gets shot, there's no blood on the ground. And whenever Anderson dies, the same thing. And we know for a fact that Mass Effect is not ashamed to show blood. In fact, I don't think there's a time that they haven't. Hell, they even get all Crayola on that shit.
Look at the power they wield. Look at what they can do.
Even when all three of you are there talking to each other, your vision is clouded by oily shadows. You hear faint alien whispers, Reaper growls, and you even betray your most closest ally. All things are representation in the Codex on basic Reaper indoctrination that we know of, and even first-hand accounts from the Rachni Queen herself. Now cue the Reaper's last and final attempt to take over Shepard entirely. We have the Star Child, or a rather ghostly apparition of what that boy was on Earth that Shepard lost. He says that he's the representation of the Catalyst. You can either choose a left blue path, represented by the Elusive Man, to control the Reapers by copying Shepard's influence into a new artificial intelligence. Moving on to the far right red path, represented by Anderson, you can go ahead and destroy all synthetic life. This includes allies, and honestly, it might even include yourself since you are part synth. Or you can choose a center green path that is not represented by anyone, and you can synthesize all organic and synthetic life, which will result in both achieving perfect understanding of one another. Let's first talk about the blue and the red options. So, in all of Mass Effect, we've always been represented with a red and a blue option. This is very familiar to us. Red was always a choice for Renegade, and blue was always a choice for a Paragon. Blue being the more moral and right choice, while red being the more rash and more confrontational choice. But how come in these sequences these two examples given to us had the mascots reversed? The blue choice was represented with the Elusive Man, and the red option had Anderson. Well, I actually have an idea for this. The Reapers are clearly in your mind, and they're trying to trick you by using that same color scheme. They are giving you the options they want you to pick, but the people that are represented to them is the last of your mind struggling to resist. It's telling you, hey, Anderson is picking the right choice. Please pick that choice. You know the Elusive Man has already been indoctrinated. You know his path did not work. So it's trying its hardest to let you know, and in one final attempt to pick the right one. And just so you don't have to only take my word for it, the destruction choice is the only one where you physically are still alive. And if you choose the other two options, you are disintegrated and absorbed by the Reapers, and Shepard is no more. Speaking of the center option, this is actually a first. It's smack dab in the middle between what looks like a Paragon and Renegade options, and this does not take a psychology major to know when you're given three options with two sides extreme, most will select the more grounded center option, and this is exactly the trap the Reapers have set. They know, they're smart, they can use psychology against you, they're not dumb creatures, so of course they're going to put that basic psychological theory to test. And once again, you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to the boy who's supposed to be a representation of the Catalyst. He always talks about how, I know how you're trying to destroy us. Well, hold up. Who is us? Shepard has not been waging a war with the Catalyst for this whole trilogy. It's been the Reapers. And listen to how defensive he gets when you talk about the destroy option. He's so quickly to fire off to emotion. When he talks about the others, he's more joyful and enticing. He almost kind of tells you like, hey, you could try to control us. And once again, using the word us, you're not controlling the Catalyst, you are controlling the Reapers. Alright guys, this is my last and final piece as to why I think the true ending of Mass Effect was literally right before your eyes. So in the last stages of indoctrination, what's the most major sign that you can see? Well, it's their eyes. They're now a blue hue, and to be even more, you can see that there's a light sphere on the bottom right and left side of their eyes. Look at Saren's. Look at the Elusive Man. These two are all confirmed indoctrinations. However, let's look at Shepard's eyes whenever he chooses the blue choice. See, you cannot sit there and deny that those are the exact same eyes after indoctrination, indicating that you have failed the game and the Reapers have won. Let's go ahead and look and see what happens whenever you choose the second option and are disintegrated to make all synthetics understand. It's really quick, but it's most certainly shown there. They are the exact same color, indicating that you have failed once again, this time just with, I guess, a green hue around you. You still disintegrated, indoctrinated, and lost. Finally, what happens when you choose the red options? Shepard's eyes stayed the exact same color. There's no change, showing that you went through it all, resisted it, and fought off the indoctrination. Furthermore, he wakes up. He's alive. I really think that Shepard was shot back into rubble before, and this knocking him out, beginning the dream sequence, and a final attempt to indoctrinate him. And that would perfectly explain why no one saw Commander Shepard or Admiral Anderson enter the beam, why they reported no survivors, and why Harbinger flew off, because he was hit, and not knocked unconscious, forcing a dreamlike state. Thus, him breathing is actually him waking up from said indoctrination. I don't think that the events are true that he killed all synthetic life, because how could he have lived? After Mass Effect, he was part synth, 30% by Joker's measurements, however that was obtained. But that being said, I really think this is how the series should have ended, and younger me really wants it to be that so bad. It makes so much more for compelling stuff when you have to sit down and think, whoa, what just happened? I think it makes for a great story, and honestly, it made Mass Effect the best ending of the trilogy I have ever seen in any video game. Anyways, guys, I truly appreciate you sticking around, and the real reason why I made this video, and I know I'm late by almost a decade, but I truly love this series, and it was always able to invoke so much emotion for me. Getting lost in this world was just so soothing as a kid, and I just want Mass Effect to stay as relevant for as long as I can keep it. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. I have already made one over Twisted Metal as well. And honestly, I've talked way too much, but I'm Terragaze, and this is my favorite game on the Citadel. And as